I'm going to talk to you about church financing, financing 101. This is going to include pretty much what you need to do in order to start the loan process and what goes into getting the loan together. Okay, so Partners in Building Program, which is where you're at now, obviously, is designed for churches to be very clear about building needs before they commit one of the biggest financial decisions. The first step is the partnership application. And that basically is yours, ours and yours partnership together in order to get this to go. It establishes a formal partnership to assess needs of those churches not yet ready for funding. Second step is the loan application. It allows us to assess your financial repayment loan via analysis of church financial position and statistics. And it also gives us the ability to see what the church can pay. Who can borrow from CB&LF? New and renewing Christian churches, churches seeking financing to buy, build, construct, renovate, or refinance property, demonstrating capable leadership and commitment to mission and ministry outreach, and churches that participate actively in the PID. So you got to lighten up. Where do you begin? The building fund is huge. You need to start raising money well in advance. One for your down payment, two for out-of-pocket costs, and three for mortgage payment reserves. More is always better. A lower loan amount means lower monthly payments, and it's also your margin of protection. How much can you borrow? You'll need a down payment. At least 20% of the appraised value or total loan amount or of the purchase price. At least 30% for construction, refinance, and renovation loans. You're going to need to insure the property. Consider utility costs and loan payments in there as well. So $650 per month for every $100,000 borrow is about a rough estimation of what you can go by. How much monthly payment can you afford? No more than half the difference between your total income and less all expenses except rent. You need to know where the loan payment is coming from. So basically leases or any type of fundraising, bingo, any of that stuff, you need to know where all of it's coming from. You need to see several years' financial statements to show the ability to make the payments. And we need to see positive trends in membership growth, church income, and mission outreach. Okay. 3 keys to better church financial management. Financial reporting is a big thing. Everybody needs to make sure that they keep track of all of their finances so that we know where you're coming from and that you're going to be able to have the loan that you're looking to get. Planning and forecasting. As they mentioned before with the why and everything else, you need to have a plan of what the church wants to do. And then capital or asset management. And that's basically the money that you have saved in your building fund, in your other accounts, things like that. You need to make sure that you know all of that, where it's coming from, and how much you have in there. Financial reporting. Statements should be representative of all the church activity for the respective period year. So basically, any accounts that you have for the church need to be included in with the loan application. Because you need to know, I mean, the more money you have, the better off you're going to be. That's what All right, financial reporting. All revenue and expenses reported when incurred. Our separate operations accounted for distinctly. Our financial statements audited every year, which by the way, when Shayna speaks, any loans that we have, everybody needs to report your financials to us every year for the life of that loan.
Can you say some more about how you define audited every year for local church?
Basically, your treasury, or from the treasurer statements that you have, not tax statements, but the treasury reports, profit and loss, income statements, that kind of thing, is what we're looking for. So as far as audited, usually it means that if you had an accountant or the treasurer review it, basically give stamp of approval, and then it goes to us.
You don't have to have audited by a CPA necessarily.
Right. Yes. It's generally consistent with the budget template. Our key services provided by church members accounted for. Planning and forecasting. In order to carry out the mission of the church and achieve its goals, the church must be able to effectively estimate both future revenue and future expenses. The efforts put into accounting and data management will pay dividends in the end. So, does the budget balance? A well-constructed budget is a mission statement, which Reverend Dugan talked about before. Everybody needs to have it and needs to be updated. A transparent communication, which means that everybody needs to talk to everybody. A chance to get buy-in for the mission. A chance to dream together. So it's not, it may seem like, oh, this is just numbers, but this is the dream and vision of the church. This is what you and your church, your congregation, your community wants to have happen. Capital management. Does the church encourage and facilitate membership to fulfill pledges monthly? Do you throw away any money on excessive interest charges, late fees, and or insufficient funds charges? Do you have reserves equal to 12 months expenses? So that means 12 months of mortgage payments, insurance payments, that kind of thing. And I know it's hard, trust me, I know. Does the church have a capital budget? In order to plan and forecast well, it's important to you to understand the key resources of the church and you need for the loan application. Is the weekly worship attendance recorded? That's a big thing. You need to know. Is there a membership database? Is it up to date? What demographics does it include? Does it include the calling of individual members? How is non-church activity, rentals, bingo, fundraising tracked? So you want to remember to start with a sound financial report, such as balance sheets, profit and loss, income statements, revenue and expense report, and a budget. Now these are examples of what we will have the church fill out when they do the loan application. And we're going to be using these for every church. So everyone has to fill out the same exact form so that we have the same exact information from everybody. There's another example. So, what should you know about buying? You don't need to pay the asking price. That's the biggest thing to know. If you're purchasing a church, a building, and they say, hey, we're going to sell it for $500,000. Don't take that as the first thing that you have to do. Negotiate. Realtors love that stuff. I know this. Look at the number of properties and parallel and pricing so that way you have a better understanding of how to negotiate at a better rate, better price. Use your broker to help negotiate the price if you have a broker. Shop for an existing church for sale. Buying can always be cheaper than building because when you buy, the cost is known. You know how much you have to buy the property for. With building, there's always something else that pops up that needs to be added on as an expense. Are there any problems with the property? That's a big thing, you know. Make sure that you have someone who is licensed in your state to do structure and inspections. Make sure that the property is worth the money that they're asking. Because you can always tell them, you know, hey, we'll pay less than this because this is wrong with it. And you might be able to get a cheaper price, say for $10,000, rather, you know, than $30,000 extra for the price to fix it. And another one that's huge is it zoned for church use? That is a huge thing to consider. Because in the city where you're at, a lot of times there's buildings here, buildings there. If it's not zoned, there is a huge, long, drawn-out process for the city. Because as you know, the wheels of the city, state, government, everything, they go as slow as molasses in January. Okay, so this is our current interest rates. And trust me when I tell you, I've been in the mortgage business for about 15 years. We are very, very low on the mortgage rates. Purchase, 4.25. Site loans, which is basically purchase of, or refinance, I should say, 4.75. Construction, 4.75. Refinance, 4.75. Amortization can be based upon 20 years to 30 years, depending on other factors in church loan requests. Now keep in mind, the more years you have stretched out, the less the payment's going to be. If you have it for 15 years, your payments are going to be higher, but you'll pay it off quicker. So if the church is able to do a loan for that size for the shorter amount of time, it's probably best to do that, because then you only have that loan for 15 years. So we also have our small loan program. And this basically consists of loans that are up to $100,000. This could be used for repairs, energy repairs, to make the property up to code, anything like that, HVAC, boilers, you name it, we can do it, as long as it's under $100,000. It's also a a smaller loan application, so you're not filling out all the stuff that you have to do for a higher loan. Small business loan program. So we need a maximum amount of financing will be $100,000. Down payment of 10% of the loan request is required. Loan term is 5 to 10 years because it is such a small loan amount. You don't really want to do 30 years for a tiny loan amount like that because you're going to be on the hook and only on the property for that long. The local church applying for loans should be new or renewing. They are to be collateralized by first mortgage on the property owned by the church. Complete the short loan application and submission of supporting documentation. The CLO or Patrick would be recommended the loan. And will provide approval usually within 30 to 60 days. Funds are limited. Application does not necessarily agree or guarantee that there's going to be an approval. Okay, then we also have our Partners in Mission program. And this is for a new church start with a strong membership and financial growth that does not yet own property that is leasing space. Indicate to CB&LF that in the next 24 months, it is considering the purchase of buildings for worship and other church uses. So basically what it's saying is that if you're leasing a property and you have the option to purchase that property, we would work with the church in order to do that. We'll review the membership and the financial information from your church to determine the capacity of the inquiring church to manage the cost of permanent space. We'll determine if the church is ready and agrees with and if we agree with the new church on the money to be deposited into a restricted account in the new church's name. We'll match funds up to $100,000. not necessarily always $100,000. They're subject to availability funds, and the duration of the matching relationship is usually 18 to 24 months. The date to begin is agreed upon between us and you as the church. We'll work in collaboration with you to prepare for the acquisition of the property, and loan approval process will commence according to the policy as prevailing interest rates and terms apply. So, the partners in mission is site acquisition. It's designed to seek out new church starts, create new opportunities for using space for multi-purpose use, along with offering innovative community outreach services. The candidate will be selected preferably be located in a demographically disadvantaged community. In connection with that, we'll also acquire the land property in advance or select a new church start. We'll also commence owning the property and offer lease option of the property to the church. The goal is to provide funding for the church property acquisition and development that will, in addition, focus on social services for the underprivileged. So the maximum amount of funding for the start project would be $500,000. So who do you contact? Well, you can contact me, or you can contact Shane. And we have cards, if you need them. We are online. We have websites. All of this information is on the website as well. Including, we can also send you out this PowerPoint if you like. So that concludes my presentation.